Welcome to a video for lesson 2.5 in pre-calculus. We are most of the way through the lesson by the time you're watching this video. We need to talk about solving rational equations. So that's where we're headed next. Okay, so solving rational equations. Really there's one strategy, but you're going to see it kind of handled in various ways throughout the 4 problems we've got in your notes. But to solve rational equations, a general idea is to get lowest common denominators, right? Get common denominators. And we'll find out as well as we do some of these examples, these equations can have what are called extraneous solutions. So it's incredibly important that we always check and verify our solutions are correct, not only for our own understanding and own certainty, but also the certainty of what we're seeing within the context of the question as well. All right, so first thing, number 11 there, first thing I want to point out is kind of in connection with an extraneous solution. When we look at this function right away, if I start thinking about values that x cannot be equal to, that might help me anticipate any possible extraneous solutions. So that's often how I like to start a lot of these problems. If it's not really easy to do, then I kind of skip over it and I just let the algebra work itself out. But number 11 is pretty easy. It's pretty easy to see, right? We know we can't divide by 0. So if x minus 6 was equal to 0, x would be 6, right? So x in this equation can't be 6 because then we'd get division of 0 there. So I just know as I continue on in my work that if I get a solution of 6, I know it's extraneous and I know it's actually false. It's not actually going to work. Okay, so let's talk about number 11 even further, right? How are we going to solve for x, right? We want to get x all by itself. This one is an interesting one. What I would do is I would add that 4 over x plus 6 to both sides. So if I add it to this side with 0, it's going to be a positive 4 over x plus 6. And then I can multiply both sides by x plus 6 to get that denominator to cancel. So I'm going to distribute my x through and get x squared plus 6x equals 4. And then we quickly see we have an x squared term and an x term. So algebraically, we're going to try to factor this and then, if needed, explore other ways to solve. So in order to solve by factoring, we want it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract the 4 to the other side. So this is a trinomial. If it can be factored, it's going to factor into the form x plus or minus times another quantity x plus or minus. And so I'm trying to find numbers that multiply to negative 4 but add to positive 6. We quickly realize that's not possible. So this is actually not factorable. So if I can't solve it by factoring, it is a quadratic. I can use the quadratic formula. So reminder with that quadratic formula, our solutions x, as long as our polynomial or our quadratic rather is in standard form, our solutions x are going to be the opposite of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, that is the all tool in our toolbox. It's the tool we can take out to solve any quadratic of any form. And so perhaps that's the method you choose to use rather than factoring later on. But this is one we have to use for this problem. So b in this problem is positive 6. And so I know back to my writing tools here. There we go. X is going to be negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36, which would be our b squared, minus 4 times 1 times negative 4 for my 4 times ac, all over 2 times a, which is 2. So if we simplify this down, we're going to get 36 plus 16, which is 52, all over 2. The square root of 52, I can break it up into the square root of 4 times the square root of 13. And so that's really 2 square roots of 13. And then I noticed that the -6 and the 2 can both be divisible or divided by the 2 in the denominator. So we'll go ahead and do that to get our final form. So we'd get -3 plus or minus the square root of 13. And there are our 2 solutions. Okay, I know that these should work, right? I could go back and plug them into the original. That's kind of an annoying process. So checking our work often is going to be done with the calculator. Given that I'm making the video on the iPad, I'm sorry, I'm not going to show you how to do that, right? But take your solution, plug it back in for the x's, and calculate whether or not you get your 0. If you do not, then you know their solution did not work. Okay, but neither one of these are extraneous. Neither one of them got to that 6 we were worried about, so that wasn't a problem. Okay, on to number 12. Number 12 is a little bit easier problem to work with. Right away I know that x cannot be equal to 2. If x was 2, then we're going to get division of 0 down there. So I'm just thinking about that right away to help me with my processing. Now solving it, I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So that's going to cancel it out. We get 9x equals 6x minus 12, and this is a nice linear equation to solve. Subtract 6x to both sides, I get 3x. Divide both sides by 3, we see x would be -4. Okay, let's check to make sure that that's not extraneous. If we plug it back in, this one I'll just quickly do by hand. If I plug it into the numerator, I'm going to get -36. And then -4 minus 2 in the bottom would be -6. Does that in fact equal 6? It does, it checks out. So this is not extraneous, that is my solution. Okay, number 13. We're growing in difficulty a little bit with these problems. Okay, right away I notice I've got 2 terms on the left-hand side, 1 term on the right. And these 2 have common denominators. And when I look at that denominator, that tells me that x cannot be equal to 1, because that's where our denominator would be 0. But we notice then that the first term, x, doesn't have that common denominator. So that's the first step we want to do. We want to get common denominators throughout the entire expression. So that means this x over 1, that first term, we're going to multiply by x minus 1 over x minus 1 to match the denominators of the other 2. So that single term is going to turn into x squared minus x all over x minus 1. Now the rest of our problem, plus the x over x minus 1 equal 3x minus 2 over x minus 1. Now because all of these have the same denominator, ultimately what we'd be doing next is we would multiply every term by x minus 1, and that's going to cancel them. So hopefully you just recognize that because they're all the same, we can just cancel them out. Again, the reason why they cancel is because if I take and multiply this whole equation by the denominator x minus 1, that's what causes them all to cancel. So we're left with x squared minus x plus x equals 3x minus 2. If we simplify, combine some like terms, and set it to 0 to potentially get ready to factor, we're going to get x squared minus 3x plus 2. This one looks like it can be factored. That trinomial can be factored. To get x squared, we need x's. We need factors of +2 that add to -3, so that must be -2 and -1. So we can see our potential solutions are going to be 2 and +1. Now look really carefully. X cannot be -1. So we know 1 is an extraneous solution, and our only solution would be 2. So again, check your work, plug it back in for x to ensure that that does in fact work. So if I quickly show that, Let's see, 3 times 2 would be 6, 6 minus 2 would be 4, and then 2 minus 1. Okay, 2 plus 2 is 4. It's checking out. Looks good. Okay, last one to give you a little experience with, number 14. First, notice a couple things. Looking at the denominators, that suggests from the first denominator, r minus 4, that r cannot be positive 4. And then the second denominator, r plus 4, r can't be negative 4. So there's our limits on our r value for now. Okay, I also notice there are 3 different denominators, right? The 2 is really over 1. So we want to get common denominators with everything. So our common denominator should be the product of r minus 4 times r plus 4. So we're going to multiply the first fraction by r plus 4 over r plus 4. So if I do that one quick, distribute your 6 through, we're going to get 6r plus 24 over r plus 4 times r minus 4. You notice I didn't actually expand the denominator out. That's like my last step. If I don't have to distribute something out, I don't want to. I know I'm probably going to have to do it in the numerator because I'm going to end up getting common denominators amongst my other terms over here. And so I'm probably going to have to combine some like terms under the addition that's in the problem. But my denominator's not necessarily going to need to change. So leave those denominators in factored form as long as possible through the problem. Okay, so the second fraction, 6 over r plus 4, we want to multiply that by the other factor, r minus 4. So then we'll get 6r minus 24 over that common denominator, r plus 4, r minus 4. And then the 2 over 1, we actually have to multiply by both of them. I'm going to be a little lazy here and just show my work that way. So we're going to have 2 times r plus 4, r minus 4 over that common denominator. So same thing, because they all terms in the problem, every single piece of it has that denominator, we can wipe those out. Because if I were to multiply every single term by the quantity r plus 4 times r minus 4, those would all cancel. So if I combine some terms in my numerators there, 6r plus 6r would be 12r. 24 plus negative 24 is 0. And now on the right-hand side of the equal sign, I should distribute out. So I'm going to distribute the binomials first. I see that they're conjugates. They have the same terms but opposite symbols in the middle. And so that's really going to turn into a difference of perfect squares. So I can multiply that a little faster. All I have to do is r times the r and the 4 times the negative 4. I can skip the other 2. So 12r equals 2r squared minus 32. I see I've got an r squared term and an r. So I want to get it equal to 0, potentially factor this thing to solve it. So subtract 12r to both sides. Looks like I can factor out a 2 right away to get r squared minus 6r minus 16. Let's see, factors of, oops, 0, there we go. See if I can factor this trinomial. Factors of negative 16 that add to negative 6. It's got to be negative 8 and positive 2. So I can see my solutions would be at positive 8 and at negative 2. I'm looking back to what I processed, the non-answers, right? R can't be 4 and negative 4. So because my answers were neither one of those, it looks like both of them should work. But again, always double check. Okay. So if we plug an 8 back in, we get 6/4 plus a half. That looks good. That works. If I plug a negative 2 in, I'm going to get negative 1 plus 3, which is 2. So it looks like they both work. So again, this whole checking solution thing, I highly recommend just have your calculator sitting next to you, punch the numbers, make sure you get an equivalent expression. And you've been doing algebra, you've been solving equations for a long time. Hopefully that's not a new concept. Okay, but again, just some quick reminders with solving rational functions. You might be able to treat it kind of like we saw with number 11 and 12, where we just kind of multiplied some quantities to both sides to sort of clear out the fractions. And then we used factoring, the quadratic formula, to finish solving. In number 13 and 14, we had to get common denominators, and then resorted to the factoring to solve with both of those. Okay, so those are kind of the main ideas here. Common denominators and factoring are going to be your go-tos. All right, that's it for the rest of this lesson. Thanks for watching.